There are stories in entertainment, big stories, loud stories, stories praised by the media. And then there are the ones that feel like living thunder, the ones that split open culture and send shockwaves across entire continents. The journey of Xiao Zhan and Wang Yibo into the blazing worlds of racing and variety shows is exactly that kind of story. It's a saga of talent, transformation, adrenaline, and heart, unfolding with the velocity of a supercar tearing down a midnight highway. Their evolution didn't happen in silence. It came with roaring engines, studio lights flashing like camera storms, and audiences holding their breath as these two titans broke through artistic boundaries to reinvent themselves in front of millions. Few could have predicted how seamlessly they'd trade quiet scripts for roaring engines, how they'd step out of traditional acting lanes and into arenas saturated with competition, grit, and real-time pressure. But here they are. Two men, two meteors, and a journey that feels almost cinematic. The spark that turned into an inferno. Picture this, a set wrapped in shadows after filming, the last strip of lighting flickering like a heartbeat. The cast is packing up, crew members yawning, and fans outside waiting with soft murmurs. Somewhere in that sea of routine, something invisible shifted. Xiao Zhan and Wang Yibo, both riding the tidal wave of their skyrocketing fame, began sensing a creative hunger. Something new. Something different. Something that asked more of them than scripted lines and character arcs. For Wang Yibo, the hunger had gasoline in its veins. Long before the big screens and massive stages, Yibo was already flirting with speed. Motorcycles, helmets, sharp curves. He didn't just like racing, he breathed it. It was his pulse. Whenever he leaped onto a track, the world blurred into streaks of silver and flame. The engine wasn't a machine, it was a heartbeat syncing with his. Xiao Zhan, meanwhile, carried a different kind of fire. His background in design and performance made him see the world in shapes, textures, and emotions. Acting gave him a voice, but variety allowed him to show the human beneath the spotlight. Raw, funny, spontaneous, vibrant. He wasn't just stepping out of his comfort zone, he was leaping. When worlds collided and fans held their breath. It started subtly, whispers, rumors, then confirmation. Both stars were expanding their worlds. The internet lit up like fireworks at midnight. Fans replayed interviews, dissected old clips, and celebrated every clue. The excitement was electric. Wang Yibo stepping into professional racing wasn't just a career shift, it was a declaration. One moment he was swirling across stages, the next he was slipping into a full racing suit, visor down, expression unreadable. Cameras would capture him walking toward his bike, the world around him disappearing into a silent hum. It felt like watching a hero step into a battlefield where every second could ignite or shatter the dreams he held so fiercely. Xiao Zhan, meanwhile, was storming into variety shows like a quiet hurricane. Shows that showcased personality instead of characters. Shows where reactions weren't rehearsed, where humor came naturally, where unpredictability ruled the screen. Suddenly, viewers saw him laughing freely, tackling challenges, improvising brilliant comedic moments, and revealing charm that even his most dedicated fans had never witnessed. Their transitions were not parallel lines. They were intersecting arcs, two blazing paths watched by millions worldwide. Wang Yibo, the racer who turned tracks into stages. If you've ever watched Wang Yibo lower his body onto a racing bike, you know why cameras fall silent around him. It's not just because he looks like he stepped out of a futuristic action film, though that's definitely part of it. It's because the air changes. The moment the engine growls, he is no longer a celebrity. He becomes a force. Every race plays out like a high-budget movie sequence. The sharp turns that scrape the edges of danger, the straightaways that feel like the world is collapsing into speed, and the wind tearing past him like shredded lightning, it all forms a visual symphony. Commentators gasp. Fans scream. Cameras struggle to keep up. There was one race, still talked about in fan circles, where Yibo executed a late overtake that defied logic. The audience couldn't even track his movement. 1 second he was behind, The next he slipped through a microscopic gap like water flowing between pebbles, emerging in front with the elegance of a dancer and the precision of a seasoned warrior. Spectators exploded into applause, disbelief rippling across the stadium. That moment wasn't just a victory. It was proof. Proof that his talent wasn't a hobby or a publicity angle. It was pure, innate, unfiltered passion. And passion, when paired with skill, becomes unstoppable. Xiao Zhan, the variety star who turned studios into magic. While Wang Yibo was conquering tracks, Xiao Zhan was reinventing the landscape of variety entertainment. His appearances became instant viral hits, not for shock value or scripted comedy, but because his presence transformed the atmosphere. Producers loved him for his professionalism. Audiences adored him for his warmth. Guests gravitated toward him for his positivity. Watching Xiao Zhan on a variety stage feels like watching colors swirl across a blank canvas. He listens, reacts, jokes, competes, yet everything feels effortless. His charisma radiates in every direction, turning even mundane challenges into must-watch moments. There was an episode, now legendary, where Xiao Zhan participated in a high-stakes game involving reflexes and speed. The challenge required players to snatch a flying object midair before their opponents. Lights flashed rapidly. The object shot out randomly, like a glitching firefly. No one had managed more than one catch. Then Xiao Zhan stepped up. With a calm smile, he positioned himself, eyes locked forward. The buzzer sounded, and in a movement that seemed to bend time, he caught the object with pinpoint accuracy 3 times in a row, leaving the entire studio screaming. The clip spread like wildfire, millions replaying the impossible moment in slow motion. It wasn't just skill. It was instinct. It was artistry. It was Xiao Zhan. Parallel paths, shared brilliance. Together, these two stars created a phenomenon that few could replicate. Their individual journeys were different, yet strangely intertwined by ambition, dedication, and evolution. Fans cheered not just because they were talented, but because they were fearless. Fearless enough to step outside the secure zones of acting. Fearless enough to chase passions without worrying about public opinion. Fearless enough to evolve right in front of the world. And evolution is rare in entertainment. True, courageous, boundary-breaking evolution is even rarer. The scenes that defined an era. Imagine a split-screen montage. On one side, Wang Yibo on a racetrack at dawn. The sky is a hazy lavender, engines echoing like distant thunder. His team tightens his gloves while he adjusts his helmet, eyes forward, heart steady. When he rides off, the camera captures a trail of flame-colored sunrise. The spark didn't arrive with trumpets or confetti. It came quietly, as many life-changing moments do, disguised as a whisper, a subtle shift in the air, a feeling that something familiar was beginning to stretch, crack open, and evolve. It began on a night much like any other. The final day of filming, the scent of makeup, fresh coffee, and stage dust lingering in the air. Crew members shuffled about, unplugging cables, rolling away equipment, their chatter fading into the soft hum of the building's exhausted lights. Somewhere on that dim set, between discarded scripts and fading echoes of rehearsed lines, 2 stars, Xiao Zhan and Wang Yibo, stood at a crossroads neither of them fully recognized yet. Their careers were soaring, their performances loved, their names rising like twin constellations. But hidden beneath the applause was a deeper calling, a restlessness that tugged at them from the shadows. It was the beginning of something bigger than fame, bigger than acting roles, bigger than anything they had touched so far. For Wang Yibo, that tug felt like an engine coming to life. He had always been drawn to speed, even long before audiences knew his name. For him, racing wasn't just a sport, it was freedom sculpted into metal and motion. On that quiet night, he lingered by the back exit of the studio, helmet in hand, fresh from a quick ride to clear his mind. The moonlight bounced off the visor like a silver flame. The moment he lifted the helmet, a gust of wind rushed past him, carrying with it the unmistakable scent of gasoline and asphalt, his 2 favorite elements in the world. In his mind, He saw not the studio before him, but endless tracks stretching across deserts, mountains, and neon-lit cities. He could almost feel the vibration of the engine beneath him, the roar, the adrenaline, the thrill of pushing limits. He had played roles that demanded speed, danger, and action, but it wasn't enough. Acting could simulate the rush. Racing could be the rush. And for the first time, he wondered if he was meant to live that thrill for real. While Wang Yibo was drifting into a world of blazing tracks, Xiao Zhan was drifting into something entirely different, yet just as powerful. He stayed behind on the empty set longer than usual, hands tucked in his pockets, staring at the space where hours earlier he delivered a powerful emotional scene. The cameras had captured his performance perfectly. The director had praised him, the crew had applauded, but Xiao Zhan felt something was missing. It wasn't dissatisfaction. It wasn't boredom. It was curiosity. He wanted to explore himself beyond scripts. Who was he outside of characters? What did he look like when he wasn't memorizing lines, choreographing emotions, or stepping into someone else's life? Deep down, he craved spontaneity, real reactions, real conversations, real laughter, real unpredictability. Variety shows whispered to him, not with the intensity of roaring engines, but with the warmth of a spotlight that allowed one thing: authenticity. He imagined vibrant sets filled with bright lights and louder audiences, places where he could laugh freely, joke around, tackle unexpected challenges, dance, sing, lose, win, stumble, rise. A place where the world could see not his characters, but Xiao Zhan himself. That thought made his heart flutter. The studio was silent, but in his imagination, it was alive with cheers and playful chaos. Somewhere in that dreaming moment, he smiled to himself with quiet certainty. He didn't just want to evolve, he needed to. The spark had been struck. Neither of them knew that fans would later point to that period as the turning point, the moment when destiny began rearranging its pieces like a chessboard resetting before a dramatic match. But something bigger was already growing beneath the surface. The following days only intensified the feeling. Wang Yibo found himself watching racing videos late into the night, not as entertainment, but as study material. His eyes sharpened as he analyzed techniques, curves, speed ratios, gear timing. The passion that had once been a hobby began crystallizing into ambition. He pictured himself wearing real racing gear, stepping onto real tracks, hearing real engines rumble around him in a symphony of controlled chaos. He didn't want to pretend anymore.
He wanted to compete.
He wanted to push himself to the edge, not for the cameras, not for the fans, but for the pure exhilaration of mastery. Meanwhile, Xiao Zhan was quietly observing variety shows from the corners of his apartment, curled comfortably on his couch after long days of filming. The laughter, the spontaneity, the rawness of it all, it called to him like a song he already knew by heart. He found himself imagining how he would react to certain games, how he would communicate with guests, how he would bring his unique charm into the unpredictable world of entertainment. Every clip he watched lit a spark inside him. He wanted connection. He wanted presence. He wanted the world to see him unfiltered. There was a moment, so simple yet unforgettable, when he realized just how deeply the idea had taken root. During a small conversation with a friend, Xiao Zhan laughed so hard that tears streamed down his face. His friend joked, "You should be on a variety show. People need to see this side of you." And in that moment, something clicked. His laughter paused. His smile lingered. His eyes softened with recognition. That was it. That was the sign he needed. The next morning, both men, separately but almost simultaneously, made decisions that would send tremors through their careers and thrill millions of fans. Wang Yibo reached out to a professional racer for guidance. Xiao Zhan contacted his team about upcoming variety show opportunities. 2 decisions. 2 destinies ignited. 2 lives forever changed. The spark that began quietly soon turned into a blazing path forward, one leading to roaring engines and burning rubber, the other toward dazzling lights and unscripted joy. Their transformations were not loud at first, but they were powerful, steady, and inevitable. Like the first crackle before a wildfire, they signaled the beginning